to next introduce Larry Cossio and Mahez Somalia. Larry is going to share some insight into insurance. As I said, nobody has assurance for insurance now. Larry, we need your help. We need your help to understand the basics. So thank you, and welcome, Larry and Mahez.
Well, let's see if we can make everything work the way it's supposed to. All right, so my name is Larry Cossio with Cossio Insurance, part of the Brown & Brown Insurance Group. Been approached by Dianne to try to shed some light on COVID-19 and what insurance has as far as a playbook. I am not an attorney. Well, some people think I am. I'm not licensed and I don't practice it. I'm not a claims adjuster. I'm a licensed insurance broker for 41 years. And we write in all 50 states, licensed in all 50. It's a very fluid issue. I'm totally confused by rationalizing who's supposed to pay what. But today's presentation is based on my opinions. And it's only my opinion. Everybody has an opinion. You didn't pay for them, so it's great. It's free advice and free opinions. So let's see if I can kind of touch base on a couple of things. First off, we're going to start off what everybody wants. You want that little piece of paper called a certificate of insurance. I got 10 minutes of this, and the rest is going to be on answering your questions. So we're going to talk about, this is the piece of paper that you get. Dying to get this piece of paper, check off that box. All right, we have proof of insurance. But do you ever read this piece of paper? Most people don't. The top part is the most important part. And it comes in right here and it says, this certificate doesn't constitute a contract between the insurer, the representative producer, or the certificate holder. That piece of paper is totally useless. The insurance policy is what governs what is covered and what's excluded. Unfortunately, too many people think that that piece of paper is it's a get out of jail card. You want to make sure that it's an occurrence-based policy, especially if it's a special event. That box will be checked right there. That's the next section on down. You want to make sure that the policy dates coincide with your event date if you're getting event insurance or you're having subcontractors show up. If your event's in January and the policy expires December, there's potential you have no coverage. You want to be named as additional insured for a special event. Any of the subcontractors that come, if it's not checked in that box, you are not covered. You do not get defense coverage under their policy. A certificate holder is totally useless. That means you get to hold that piece of paper. That's all it means. It doesn't confer any rights to you. So make sure you have that clear. You'll be named as a certificate holder or additional insured if the box is checked. It's going to be in that bottom left-hand corner. And the date for an updated accord that has the correct verbiage is March of 2016. That's the latest version. Some people are still using outdated forms, which could possess a potential claim challenge. And that's always going to be in the bottom box. It should have information in there. Now, amazing how many people are professionals at Adobe. You can go on to pdffiler.com or filler.com and complete your own certificate of insurance. You don't need agents or insurance. You can just falsify your own. And we see this happening all the time. So one of the most important things, never, ever, 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 ever accept a certificate of insurance from any of your customers, only from their insurance agent. Why? Because they can change data. A 12-year-old can manipulate a PDF on their phone. The agent usually will have errors and omissions insurance in case something's wrong or there's no coverage. Anyone coming to the event setup, whether it's portalets, it's tents, tables, chairs, entertainers, they should have general liability, auto insurance, and workers' comp, even though everybody says they're subcontractors. Your insurance as an event planner, the one you take out to cover yourselves, does not cover the event you are putting on for somebody. It has to be in the name of the company or the people that are having the event. We see a lot of people that use their own certificate to get into hotels. That's not what your insurance is for, and it doesn't cover. So don't dig yourselves into a hole. The real reasons for this webinar, COVID-19. So main points I'm going to touch on, is there coverage or not? Who's going to pay for this mess? Should I file a claim? Popular question. What coverage do I need as an event planner? So let's break it down. There's 3 property insurance forms. General liability has nothing to do with this. This is all property based for a claim for COVID. So you have basic form, which lists out what they do cover. The rest is excluded. If it's not there, there's no coverage. Not used very often. Broad form takes everything in one and adds in what's under 2. Picks up snow, ice, sleet, water damage, that kind of stuff. Number 3 is what we see most of the time now, which is called special form. And you'll see it on the certificate of insurance or their policy. Covered causes of loss that are listed, and it means direct physical loss unless the loss is excluded or limited in the policy. That's a standard form number. ISO insurance service offices, they're the entity in the insurance world that puts together these forms and these insurance policies. There's all kinds of different forms. There's all kinds of different exclusions. Some are state specific. Some of them are manuscript endorsements or manuscript policies that they make up themselves and attach to a policy. Every state is different. So you have to make sure that you look at your insurance policies and the policies that are affecting your customers. We used to hear it was an all-risk form. Well, that caused a lot of problems. The insurance industry paid a lot of money because it says all risk, so everything's covered. They haven't used that for about 25 years. Now, the part that is kind of important here that everybody's looking for coverage under is business income or business interruption, synonymous words. It is not automatically included in a property or inland marine insurance policy. It's an added endorsement you add on. It's based off of your net earnings that you figure out with a form. Usually it's going to be a minimum of 50–60% of your gross sales. The insurance that covers loss of income under business income, business interruption, is going to be when a business has damage to its premises or contents by a covered cause of loss. Keywords, covered cause of loss. If it's number 3 special form, it's listed. The loss causes a slowdown or suspension of operations. We have that right now. Applies to financial loss suffered during the time required to replace and get back to how it was previous to the incident. So there's a specified time limit. There's usually a waiting period. Usually it's 72 hours. Some of them have a time limit, 30 days, 6 months, 12 months. How long it's going to take to get back to where you were previous to the event. You could have a limit payout. Some policies have a limit payout of $15,000, no more than $50,000. They're called sublimits. What triggers that coverage? That's the most important part. A direct physical loss or damage to the property by covered perils. So if it's excluded, it's not a covered peril. This is where the fight's going on right now because they want to know if it's a direct physical loss. Some legal analysts are saying, hey, it's a physical loss because somebody touches it that could have the infection. And it lives for 9 days, 15 days, whatever version you want to go with. Other attorneys on the insurance side are saying there is no physical loss. If somebody touched it and it's infected and they wipe it off with Lysol wipe, is it damaged still? So huge arguments going back and forth. Whether there's coverage or no coverage. My PowerPoint presentation I put together for Dianne in this event has been changed probably 7 times due to every day the news that I get in the morning from the insurance industry changes by the afternoon, state by state. All the Department of Insurances, they go by different rules. Different rules apply to different states. Different insurance companies have different endorsements and policy coverages. So this is a real insurance challenge. After 40 years, I've never seen anything like this. The exclusions, we already know we had SARS, we had HIV and AIDS, swine flu, MERS, we had Ebola, we had Zika. All of these things have come up that have caused exclusions to be put into policies. And it's all based on interpretation, the law in that state. And you're going to see waffling back and forth from the insurance world attorneys and the litigant attorneys. So here's one of the exclusions that we see. We do not pay for loss, cost, or expense caused by any virus, bacterium, or other microorganism. Pretty clear, kind of broad, but when the attorneys get in there, they're going to argue, well, that word doesn't apply to that word. That verb doesn't apply to this. Any contamination by any virus, bacterium, or other microorganism, or denial of access to property because of the same. Denial of access to property. Huge, huge. So who's denying access? Civil authority. Now we have another one. This is also covered under the exclusions. Order of any civil authority, including seizure, confiscation, destruction, or quarantine of property. If it's covered under a peril that's listed on the policy. If it's excluded, then there's not any coverage. So this civil authority issue has been a huge topic for the last couple of months. If the state says you need to close down, if the government, the president issues a mandate telling people to close down, not have groups over 50, 10, 5, 3, it changes every day. Does that mean that they closed your business, or they ask you to close it so you don't spread the disease? Interpretation. So was there physical loss as per the property damage clause? There's no clear definition. The courts have different interpretations of it. The widely accepted definition, though, of physical damage is a distinct, demonstrable, and physical alteration of its structure, for example, damage from fire or water. Does civil authority issue provide coverage? By mandating closure of some businesses, does it cause property damage? Huge discussion. It definitely caused financial issues for everybody, us included. Was access denied due to road closure or damage to building, which is traditionally what a civil authority would do? So when we have our hurricanes, our tornadoes, when we have fires, they come in, they say, you can't go in anymore, you can't get to your house. This is a different type of civil authority closure. So how are they going to deal with it? Thank God John went in front of me. Number one, analyze your insurance policy, your state laws, because it's going to depend on if you have coverage. You may have to modify it, work with a broker that knows what's going on. Read the exclusions. There's an exclusion page. They come in a PDF. Control F, put in exclusions, and read every single one. Most people have never read their auto or homeowners insurance. Forget about reading your business insurance. As a professional, are you held to a higher level of explaining to your customers that they need to have the right insurance? Did you ask for it? Did you get it from an agent that says that the coverage is in place for their exposures? Look at the exclusions. Does force majeure infer insurance coverage? Well, is it your event or is it somebody else's event? You're just an event planner. It's not your event. You're just putting it together for them. So that's more of a contractual issue. Do you use your attorney for your contracts, or you modify them yourself because you've been in the business 20, 30 years? Huge mistake. Use your attorneys. It's well worth the money. All right, the real answers. Is there coverage or not? Maybe. They're fighting. There's class action suits, I think, on 5 different insurance companies so far, whether there's going to be coverage or not. This is going to be drawn out forever. Who's going to pay for all this mess? We will all pay for this in the long run. The cost basis for everything that we get to experience is going to change. Companies that own high-rise office buildings are going to be vacant because we found out that you can work from home. The insurance that you pay for special events are going to have more exclusions and are going to have a higher cost. Your business insurance, if you're in the event planning business, could be higher. Should you file a claim if you have business income currently? Yes, file it. It doesn't cost nothing to file. Does not hurt your loss history. If nothing is paid out, it does not affect your insurance. So if you have business income on your current policy, go ahead and file. What insurance coverage do you need as an event planner? Number 1, general liability. Number 2, professional liability. They're not included. Professional liability protects you for having a license, a professional designation with above average knowledge of your industry. Property coverage with business income. It could be inland marine, it could be property coverage. They're synonymous. One covers it if it's motion, the other one's a fixed location. Commercial auto, some of you need it, some don't. Once again, talk to your insurance broker, find out if your exposure is there. If you're not going to deliver anything, you probably can get away with just business use on a personal auto policy. So there's a lot of different variables. This is the third event planner webinar that I've done. Very similar questions and answers have come out of it. And I'm sure Dianne probably has a few for us for today. Infectious disease coverage, is it going to be available? It's probably going to be something similar to the terrorist coverage after 9/11, where it's a share between the insurance companies and the government. They're going to pay a certain percentage and the insurance company will pay a certain percentage. It'll be offered to everybody, probably similar to terrorist. You can deny it or pay for it. Most people deny terrorist coverage because they don't think it's going to happen to them. So how much is really in that account? The cost to include infectious disease coverage is cost prohibitive today, and it's probably going to increase and get worse because of the exposure now. Each state has its own laws. The next 3 years are going to be very interesting in the insurance world and the amusement and entertainment world. The majority of what we insure is tied to amusement or entertainment, and it's affected everybody up and down the ladder. So it's going to be something that you need to be cognizant of. You have to talk to your insurance broker. You have to look at your policies and understand what you have, and also have some knowledge to have somebody on the sidelines to advise your customers, because you will be held responsible if something goes wrong. Active shooter insurance was not an issue until the Vegas shooting. Event cancellation insurance, been around forever. A lot of people don't buy it because they don't ever think that it's going to be in there. Do you recommend it to your customers? Is it in writing when you're writing up your bids to your customers? If it's not in writing, it didn't happen. Mentioning on a phone is not a defense in a court case. You'll lose. So make sure it's in writing. And I guess that's going to be basically a 10,000 foot level. Dianne, what do you got for questions?